Yes, okay. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order, and I'd like to begin by announcing that we will be adjourning tonight's meeting in loving memory of Don Christopher, whose lifetime of generosity was a testament to how deeply he cared for our entire community and whose legacy will be with Gilroy forever. Can we all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay, ready, salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and remain standing for an invocation by Pastor Greg Corp.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Let's pray. Well, God, I do echo the sentiment of the imprint and the footprint of Don Christopher in this community, and he will be remembered for a long time. And we thank you for his life, his contributions. Be with his family. Father, we're also grateful for the much-needed rain in our state. We pray also for the homeowners and the businesses that are forced to deal with the property damage. We pray for those who've been having to evacuate due to flooding. We also pray for the first responders. And also, as we enter this new year, I pray for our council. Give them wisdom, give them guidance as they lead our community. I pray for them. I pray a blessing upon them and their families. And be with us tonight as we adjudicate the agenda set before us. And we pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you. All right, 1.4, City Clerk's report on posting the agenda, followed by roll call.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The agenda was posted on Thursday, January 5th at 1 p.m. Councilmember Armendariz?
Here.
Councilmember Bracco?
Here.
Councilmember Klein?
Here.
Councilmember Hilton?
Here.
Councilmember Marks?
Here.
Councilmember Tovar?
Here.
And Mayor Blankley.
Here. All right, under orders of the day, we have none. Employee introductions. We have, we'll start with our police department. Chief, you have an employee to introduce?
Madam Mayor, members of council, and members of our community, I'm happy to introduce our newest community service officer, Jacqueline Quaresma. Date of hire was December 12th. Jackie has been involved in public safety for the past 9 years. She spent 6 years with the City of Monterey as a parking enforcement officer, and 2 years with the 2 years as a community service specialist with CSU Monterey Bay. Unfortunately, her position was cut as a result of the pandemic fiscal cutbacks, but shortly after was picked up by the Pacific Grove Police Department, where she was a community service officer up until her date of hire here with the City of Gilroy. She is an Anzar High School graduate and also attended Cabrillo College. She has 2 older sisters and both parents who've been married for over 36 years. Her loving boyfriend and her have a dog, a pit bull named Koa, a husky named Crypto, an older cat named Hercules, and a kitten named Maple. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, skiing, camping, and weekend trips. Her favorite activity is to kayak, and she does that in a slough of Moss Landing. Please help me welcome Jackie Quaresma.
Thank you for the introduction, Chief. I'm really excited to be a part of the city, and it's been a great first month, and I look forward to the rest of my life.
Thank you, welcome. All right, Community Development Director Sharon Goey, you have someone to introduce?
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'm very excited to introduce a new member in our Community Development Department. Erin Freitas is our new planner too. She comes to us with 5 years experience in planning, last 4 years at the City of Mountain View, and prior to that, the town of Los Altos Hills. She has a master's degree in community and regional planning and a bachelor's degree in finance. So if she looks familiar, because she actually worked here 8 years ago in the finance department. And she got interested in planning and decided to go back to school and pursue that career. In her spare time, she likes to do hiking and mountain biking, and she lives here in Gilroy. So very glad, she's joined us to serve the Gilroy community. Please welcome her.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Council. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to be working back here again. It's been 8 years since I was here and went back to school, went to the University of Oregon to get my degree, and now I'm back and had some experience in Mountain View and Los Altos Hills. So I'm really looking forward to working for this city, and I'm a resident now, so I'm really personally interested, have children in the school district. So I'm really excited to be working here and hopefully retire here.
Well, thank you for being here. Okay, is our finance director, Harsha? Yes, I can't see you past that screen. You have okay, sorry.
All right, good evening, Mayor, council members, and the members of the community. I am very excited to introduce our newest addition to the finance team, our newest accounting assistant, Nellie Elizondo. Nellie comes to us from Community Solutions, which is our nonprofit organization here in Gilroy, where she did work in accounts payable function, and her experience also includes accounts receivables and other functions in the finance department. For Gilroy, she is our new face of the city here at the City Hall. If you'll recall, you authorized the information desk position, which is a permanent offering now. So she is going to be helping all of our city customers that are here at City Hall, kind of navigating them through these City Hall services. Outside of work, she has a family and she has 4 kids that consume much of her time outside of work with after-school activities and such. And in the little time that she does get to herself, she enjoys event planning and does donate or gives her time to faith-based organizations for volunteer work. With that, I'm excited to introduce
Welcome.
Thank you. I am really excited to be joining the team here at the City of Gilroy, and I look forward to, being here, learning the people and just serving my community as I've been here. I've been born and raised, so I'm really excited to be part of the team.
Thank you again. All right. Okay, under item 2, ceremonial items, we have none. Under item 3, presentations to the council, I see 4 speakers. Is that what we've got?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, we'll call them up. And
First speaker is James Polo, followed by Jeff Orth, followed by Ron Kirkish.
you should be able to see the timer in front of you, just to make sure. No?
No timer. Is there a refresh here somewhere?
Let me just do a quick refresh here.
Okay.
I mean, you can time yourself, but it
Okay.
should be there for you to see too.
So, greetings, council. So basically, I'm here because a lot of the residents near First and Wren are being disrupted by the construction, and there's construction crews that are actually living on the actual construction site. And the cops have been called by both Walgreens and the actual residences. And no citations have been made, but several emails have been made to Scott Barron and none have been responded to. And so we're asking for help to, inform them of the ordinances in place so that they don't do construction after 7 p.m. or before 7 a.m. And also not to do construction during Sunday, and then also, like on Saturdays, not to go in before 9 a.m. And all of the noise, that's taking place is being videoed, as well as one of the individuals who approached the construction workers and asked them not to work at 5 a.m. in the morning, and they yelled at the residents and basically said, "Go move to San Jose." And so I've come to just basically make it aware to the city council that this is happening, and to hopefully get some help to, get either, no citations again have been made yet, but a sequence number has been given to us by the police. And so it's kind of in the works or heading in the direction of citations. And so we're hoping that, something can take place before that happens. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker?
Jeff Orth.
Okay, brought Good evening, Mayor Blankley and the City Councilman. I'm here tonight to introduce myself as the newly elected chairman of the board for the Gilroy Downtown Business Association. I'm happy to report that for the first time in over a decade, we have a very strong, full board of 13 board members that have experienced and have diverse skills. And just this Saturday, we had a very successful board retreat. To better represent the voice of the downtown and surrounding areas, each one of the 13 board members has selected a block in the downtown area, and their mission is to cruise that block, go talk to the different business owners, property owners, what have you, and find out what are their concerns, where we can help, how to connect them to services, how to connect them to city services, that sort of thing, and help them getting quick responses to their needs. When they're walking these districts, they'll be doing them at least twice a month, and then they report back at every board meeting so that we can compile data, usable data for the downtown area. In the first quarter of this year, so at the end of March, we'll do our first of 2 surveys. One will be done in March, one will be done late November, early December, to assess how we're doing and to find out where we go from there. Also, just to let you know, the board has decided to reduce the number of events. Quite frankly, we do more events than probably any other city I know of. And quite simply, we want to do less events, but do them much better. So we've eliminated 7 events. And we've already started planning. As a matter of fact, the planning is already underway for this year's Christmas parade, because each board director is chairing an event. It's one of the requirements of being a board and being a working board, that each board director needs to chair one of these events. And we have the current leadership of really high-quality leaders that I think can really pull it off. Just to let you know, the events that we will be doing in 2023 is the Poppy Jasper Film Festival, the National Celebration of Garlic, 2 GDBA mixers, the Downtown Wine Stroll, the Downtown Live Music Series, which is 8 concerts, the Holiday Beer Crawl, Dia de los Muertos, the Small Business Saturday, and the Holiday Parade. I'd like to thank the following city councilmen who have frequently attended events: Fred Tovar, Dion Bracco, and a very special thanks to Carol Marks, to her and her husband, who have not only attended almost all of our events, but have shown support as volunteers at those events. I'd also like to thank you, Mayor, and our city manager for your involvement at our events as well. Many thanks for the opportunity to speak today. You're going to be hearing from me a lot. More to follow.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ron Kirkish.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, community. During this last downpour, we've seen a lot of damage done to our surrounding areas: Watsonville, Capitola, Santa Cruz, Highway 1, Monterey, Carmel. But we've been very fortunate, and I'd like to thank our city administrator, our Department of Public Works, the supervisors, and the men and women who staff that department for keeping our city in very good shape. Personally, I haven't seen one flooded street. They are doing a great job, Jimmy, and you are do a great thank you for this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Robert Cepeda.
Hi, good evening. My name is Robert Cepeda. I am a local resident born and raised here in Gilroy. I have come to address an issue that is arising very quickly in our country. Specifically, I will be addressing the sexual indoctrination of children in our school system. Children are the future of our communities. They bring us joy and laughter, peace and love. It is absolutely necessary to protect their innocence from the malicious and insidious evils of this world. To anyone who is a parent, legal guardian, or neither, but wants to one day be, such as myself, knows this already without question. However, there are others who don't. There are people who want to corrupt the minds of kids for personal interest and even pleasure. To those that are not aware, recently there has been multiple occurrences of elected officials and school boards that accept and encourage the sexualization of children. One of them is Stephen Lanusa. In Claremont Unified School District, President Stephen Lanusa invited students from the choir to his home to participate in a private adult party. The so-called event had alcoholic beverages and inappropriately dressed male entertainers who were encouraging the children to drink. The Dirty Santa, along with the shirtless entertainers, made disgusting comments towards the children. Since then, Stephen Lanusa has resigned, and the investigation is still ongoing. You can look up his name, and multiple websites will address this information. Another elected official from Chicago was caught on camera explaining in detail about queer sex to underage students. The Dean of Students at Francis W. Parker Private School, Joseph Bruno, was shown on video discussing the activities being allowed to children. He says, and I quote, "I had like our LGBTQ health center come in. They were passing around butt plugs and dildos to my students, talking about queer sex, using lube versus using spit. They were just like passing around the dildos and butt plugs. The kids are just playing with them, looking at them. They're like, how does this butt plug work? How does this work?" End of quote. The video can be found on YouTube along with many other articles. Both of these individuals are groomers and pedophiles. Where have we gone in a society that not only allows but encourages these horrific behaviors without consequence? There is so much more than just this, and we, the people of this community, cannot allow this. We need to be aware. We need to complain, and if our elected officials, whether in the school board, local, county, state, or federal government, want these atrocities to persist, then they will be voted out and never allowed to return again. Everyone here today and the next day can do something about this. We need to speak up. We need to fight for children.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you, though, for coming. Are there any other speakers?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, members, council member reports. Councilmember Bracco? Councilmember Armendariz?
No report.
Councilmember Marks?
No report.
Councilmember Hilton?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm excited to begin some new roles and want to provide a short description of two of them. The Valley Transportation Authority Policy Advisory Committee consists of one city council member from each of the 15 cities and one member from the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. The PAC ensures that all jurisdictions within the county have access to the development of VTA's policies and forward these recommendations to the VTA Board of Directors. VTA staff will be holding a pop-up at the Gilroy Transit Center tomorrow, January 10th, weather permitting, from 11 to 2 p.m. to get feedback on transit priorities for our South County riders. From Silicon Valley Clean Energy, this is 13 communities in Santa Clara County that formed a JPA named Silicon Valley Clean Energy Authority. They're a local nonprofit public agency that runs a community-owned agency. For these communities, SVCE is your official electric provider, and the board of directors will be made up of electeds from each of the 13 communities. We work in partnership with PG&E as well. So the new rate approved for residents transitioning to electric technology. As residential customers shift away from fossil fuels in their homes, electricity consumption will increase. To incentivize electrification and reduce associated potential on-bill impacts, PG&E is rolling out an electric rate. This new opt-in untiered residential rate has seasonal variation in time of use periods. It requires that a resident use electricity for one of the three uses: electrical vehicle charging, energy storage charging, or electric heat pumps. The rate has a fixed charge for PG&E's transmission and delivery service, which offers cost reductions to high-volume utility users. There's a new electricity rates that are coming. A 4% discount rate compared to PG&E was approved by the SBCE board. And it'll be 4% less than PG&E for 2023 rates, and an additional 1% in bill credits to income-qualified care or FARA customers. The new rates are expected to take effect in January 2023, when PG&E implements its annual rate change. Customers will see an average increase of 1.5% on their overall bills as electricity transmission and distribution prices continue to rise. To provide financial incentives and opportunities for electrification to renters in SVCE service area, the board allocated another $9.5 million towards the multifamily direct install program. Previously, it was a $2 million program. The program.
I'm almost done.
I,
Thank you.
but this is meant for you as a representative of the council.
And this is the information that's coming back from the SBC
it-
board meeting of
This
December.
is the public dais. You can put your own information out on your own. Here, it's for reports, this is reports of the council.
These are
Please
the
finish, but I'm asking you in the future, if you could please report on the issues where you are our representative.
Yeah, these are the actions that the board took in December.
Okay.
The program is intended to provide very low or no cost electrification of qualifying multifamily buildings as a way of bringing electric retrofits to customers who otherwise don't have access. SVC board approved their 2023 policy platform. They identified 3 top policy areas that will guide the agency's legislative priorities in 2023. That's clean, reliable grid, support investments in barrier removal for transmission and renewable projects, reliable electric systems, and address interconnection barriers and equipment failures. Climate change mitigation and fuel switching, support funding and programs to decarbonize the electric, building, and transportation sectors. Remove barriers to fuel switching and decarbonization, support clean energy workforce development efforts, and finally, competitive equity and do no harm. Supports the community choice energy provider model of local government governance, providing flexibility to allow local authority and discretion to meet our goals. In addition to the 3 areas above, SBCE staff will pay close attention to the health and safety, equity, and affordability and rates. Thank you.
Councilmember Klein.
No, I haven't.
Thank you. Councilmember Tovar.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, and mine, because we had no meetings since our last council meeting, I just want to inform the council that the Economic Development Corporation has filed for dissolution, including their nonprofit status. I think we do all know that. I'm sorry, what? Okay, hang on. That they need 2 council members. The previous council members, they would like to continue on that board. You know, we didn't appoint anyone because we know they're dissolving. So they have requested their same council members from before. Their board gets to choose, and that's Fred Tovar. It was Peter LaRomagno's, so that's going to be Tom Klein now. So just to let the council know for full transparency that it may only be for 1 meeting, but just until they receive word back from the nonprofit dissolution that they're doing. Okay, and then lastly, I want to announce that the interfaith community will be hosting a tribute to Martin Luther King this Sunday at 3 p.m. at St. Mary's Church, and all are welcome. Okay, Councilmember Bracco, you had something to add?
Yes, I forgot. You probably were notified about the Santa Clara County Library District, which we're a member of, is the #2 library system in the country. And so it's something we can take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, great. All right, well, thank you for that. Okay, under item 5, council correspondence, we have none. Future council-initiated items.
Mayor, I have one.
You have something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. No, I'll keep it brief. I would like to introduce a new council-initiated item to be brought before the council for future discussion. The item that I would like to introduce is the creation of a standing committee for downtown. Last year, the City Council approved the creation of an ad hoc committee for downtown, and that committee met for 12 months. Thanks to the work of that committee, 7 important recommendations were approved for downtown, and the work has begun on several of those. However, included in those recommendations were the creation of several important projects, programs, and policies which will take many, many more months to launch and require additional oversight to complete. Ongoing economic development is essential to our downtown, and I would like to bring this forward for a discussion at a future agenda item.
Okay, may I make a suggestion, and then council will do what they do, but is it okay if we discuss this at the strategic planning session on the 28th?
I would not be in favor of that. I think it's something that we could vote on before that, or, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, I don't see the purpose of that if,
Okay.
again.
Just to discuss it more holistically.
I have a question.
Okay?
Jimmy, I thought if a subcommittee meets over, it can't meet for over 12 months or something like that.
That is the standard that we have relied upon, is that ad hoc committees have to have a termination date with an agenda that's been completed. We've been advised and have made the advisement to the committee that if they wish to continue it, they may have to create a brownout committee, which requires, the same noticing and standards as the city council. and I think Andy will help me out here.
Yes, if I may. The suggestion by Councilmember Tovar was a standing committee. That would, excuse me, that would be a Brown Act committee. So it would have to have an agenda and publish notices and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, and
public
that's the
meetings
whole
as well.
purpose behind it, obviously, yeah. And again, there's many cities locally and nationally that have standing committees like this, so it's not nothing new. So.
No, it's not, but it is why I was suggesting as part of strategic planning, when we're prioritizing everything, we can all discuss where it fits in the priority, but that's just me.
That would probably be faster than putting it on an agenda.
But let me ask this question, when you say priority, I mean, this should be a priority. I don't know why the discussion of if where we want to land it as a priority. I mean, it should be a priority. I mean, the work that we did as an ad hoc committee was very important, and I think this is oversight and continuing to move forward, so I mean, it should be our number one priority. So, I mean, again, that's how I see it. I don't know how.
Jimmy, can you tell us how soon it would be on the agenda? If it would be sooner than our strategic planning meeting?
I think it would depend on the direction of council because we have numerous council-initiated items that we have not gotten to. So if we move this one up ahead, there'll be others that will fall further back.
There's one meeting before strategic
Yeah,
planning.
there's just one meeting. It would not make it to that meeting. We already have the agenda set for that, so it would be after the strategic planning meeting.
Okay, well then, rather than continuing to discuss it, we need to see thumbs up for anyone who wants to support putting it on a future.
Fred, knowing that it wouldn't be held, like it wouldn't be heard before the strategic planning meeting, would you still like to?
You know, I guess, you know, and I appreciate that. I think my concern is what I'm hearing is at the strategic planning committee, we're going to see where it lands as a priority. Yeah, that's my concern. For me, it's a priority now. It shouldn't be something that we say, well, it's number 6 on our
We'll all
list.
get to discuss it, right?
So that's how I see it. I mean, but again, I would like to hear what others
But a
say.
vote here to future agendize it doesn't make it a number one priority. It just means you're saying to put it on a future agenda.
Right, but I'm
just-
also saying it's a chance for us to bring it back and vote on it to make sure it's something that we move forward with or not, so.
Okay. No, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I'm going to support that it be a strategic planning, which means I'm not going to, here, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Do you want to go down the line? Thumbs up?
Yeah, I'm supportive.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, there are 4 thumbs up, so it's a future agenda item in the lineup.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to suggest you bring it up at strategic planning too, though, okay? Because I think it's going to be quicker. All right. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, moving on. The consent calendar. And,
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it too late for council initiated?
we just moved on. You want to go back to item 6?
Yeah, is that okay?
Can I do that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, given the weather and what we went through in the summertime, I'd like to have a discussion, and maybe it could be at strategic planning, but we need to discuss again the city having a shelter, right, a cold weather or hot weather shelter. I know Wheeler is going largely unused, and I understand why. I've had discussions with Jimmy about it, he's brought it here, but, you know, there's no more room at the Armory. Yesterday, there was 2 slots open for 2 male people, and today we try to get folks in there, and there's no slots open, and there's dozens of people, you know, homeless and not, who need shelter. So I'd like for us to discuss it soon.
And you don't want to wait for strategic planning. You want to, that's fine. I'm just asking the question. Okay, so thumbs up.
How full the agenda is for strategic planning.
It is full, but that's where we'll prioritize, that's how we direct staff, is at the strategic planning on all the things that concern every council member or members of the public who bring them up. There's only so much time and so much resources for all the things we want to do, and that's where you're talking about them all together. Okay? So I'll see a thumbs up for anybody who wants to future agendize that. And that has 1, 2, different 4, but still 4. So there you go. That's another one. Okay, so on to consent calendar. Does anybody have something they want to remove from consent? public comment. I should be able to see that here. I don't see any public speakers. Do we have any public speakers? Okay, no public speakers. Can you let me know if I'm not speaking to the microphone enough? Will somebody know?
I can hear you,
Okay,
and I can
good.
hear it from the speakers as well, so you're
Okay,
good.
okay. So then, nobody wanted to pull anything? Thank you.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Bracco, seconded by Councilmember, do you want to, there we go. Armendariz, yeah, can you hit the button on the screen?
It hasn't come up.
Yes, it was just up, but,
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote here.
okay, thank you.
Councilmember Armendariz?
Yes.
Councilmember Bracco?
Yes.
Councilmember Klein?
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton?
Aye.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Tovar?
Yes.
And Mayor Blankley.
Yes, so that passed unanimously. Okay, under bids and proposals, we have none. Under public hearings, we have none. Under unfinished business, 10.1. Annual appointments to city boards, commissions, and committees. We did the interviewing for this last month, and today we're going to go through the voting process. Ty, do you have a staff report you wish to give?
No staff report, but just wanted to give council the notice that since you adopted the approval of 7.2 with the removal of Commissioner Sedalte from the Youth Commission, now you have 2 Youth Commission positions
Thank
for
you.
the position of September 30th, 2024.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm going to go to public comment first, if that's okay. Opening public comment. If there are any, I don't see any on my screen, but
I do not have any public comment on
okay.
this item.
So seeing no public, I'm hearing ringing. Okay. All right. Okay, council members, there's any number of ways to go about this, so I just had to pick one. And what I would like to do is call out by commission for the full term seats first. Okay, and I'll just go down the line, starting with Councilmember Bracco, just down the line. Give your vote. I will be tallying it. Our city clerk will be tallying it, and that way we will know who we've appointed to the full term seats before we go on to the partial term seats.
Mayor,
Okay.
if I could say something really quick. One of the applicants, Jan Bernstein-Shargan, there was an emergency with the unhoused, right, because of the flooding, so she apologized, but she can't be here tonight.
Okay. Right, she wasn't here at the interview time either. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to start with Planning Commission. And again, when I call your name, if you could give me your vote for candidates for the 2 full-term seats. Okay, so Councilmember Bracco,
Manny Bendel and Kelly Ramirez.
Councilmember Armendariz,
Sandra and Adelene.
Councilmember Marks,
Manny Bendel, Kelly Ramirez.
Councilmember Hilton,
Manny Bendel and Adeline Moreno.
Councilmember Klein,
Manny Bandel and Kelly Ramirez.
Councilmember Tovar.
Kelly Ramirez and Manny Bandel.
Okay, and I am voting for Manny Bendel and Kelly Ramirez. So Manny and Kelly are the 2 that have the 2 full-term seats, correct? You get the same number?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, for Planning Commission. So now let's move on to the 1 full-term seat for Parks and Rec Commission. Councilmember Bracco,
Luis Ramirez.
Councilmember Armendariz,
Which was this for?
Parks and Rec Commission,
Parks and
full-term
Rec.
seat.
Jan Bernstein.
Okay, Councilmember Marks,
Luis Ramirez.
Councilmember Hilton,
Jan Bernstein.
Councilmember Klein,
Luis Ramirez.
Councilmember Tovar.
Incumbent Luis Ramirez.
And I am too, I'm voting for Luis Ramirez, so he takes that full seat for Parks and Rec. Confirmed? Yes, okay. So Open Government Commission, this one has 2 full-term seats. So again, just looking at the full-term seats, Councilmember Bracco.
Diana and Shane.
Diana and Shane, okay. Councilmember Armendariz.
Diana and Rebecca.
Diana and Rebecca.
Oh,
Rebecca.
Madam Mayor.
Garcia. She pulled herself. Oh, I
Oh,
didn't see
yeah.
that.
How
Yes.
come her name is not on
She's
here?
on the list.
She withdrew her application.
Oh.
In the staff report that I wrote, she withdrew her application
Oh, I'm,
as of
okay,
last week.
sorry, I guess I didn't catch that. So do you want to vote
Yeah, I
for
didn't
someone
either.
else or just one?
I'll say Diana and Sandra.
Okay. Councilmember Marks,
Diana, Shane.
Councilmember Hilton,
Same, Diane and Shane.
Councilmember Klein,
Diane and Shane.
Councilmember Tovar.
Diane and Terrence Fugazi.
This is the full term.
Oh,
That's okay.
yeah.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for me, it's going to be Diana and Shane. So Diana and Shane take the 2 full-term seats on the Open Government Commission. Okay, confirmed? Okay, Building Board of Appeals has 2 full-term seats, but there was only 1 applicant. So what we're doing in this round is either you vote for the 1 applicant or nobody. So, Councilmember Bracco. Okay. Councilmember Armandaris.
Ronald.
Councilmember Marks.
Ronald.
Councilmember Hilton.
Ronald, the only thing I want to mention, though, is that was his number 2 choice. His number 1 choice was arts and culture. And I don't know if that's if these are 2 compatible offices, but if there's a chance that maybe he could get on arts and culture, I'd like to see if we could do that as well. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, this would be for council members, sorry? Okay.
Since this was his number 2 choice.
Well, I think some of these others may have been their number 2 choice too. I wasn't factoring, I figured everybody took that into consideration when they decided how they were voting. Okay?
Mayor, sorry, with that being said, I mean, given that that's not his first choice, then is it wrong for us to vote for this position if he's not interested in?
No, he applied for
Oh, I
it.
know.
Councilmember Hilton is just saying the same thing that applies to actually many of the commissioners
Okay.
who applied for multiple commissions.
But we could vote for him for both, too.
That's what
Yes.
Jimmy
Okay.
just said.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay, should I continue or do you want to not? I'm going to continue.
Please.
Councilmember Klein?
Ronald.
Okay. Councilmember Tovar?
Mr. Robinson?
Okay, and I'm voting for Ronald Robinson on Building Board of Appeals. So that one he's been appointed to. Okay, under Arts and Culture, now there are 2 full-term seats here, and you can see all the names of the people that apply. And you're welcome to vote for any one of those, or actually, I'm asking you to vote for 2 of those. Okay, so Councilmember Bracco.
Adeline and Ruben.
All right, Councilmember Armandaris.
Ruben and, it's a tough one.
Okay, Councilmember Marks. will come-
Ruben and Joseph.
Okay. Councilmember Marks.
Ruben and Adeline.
Councilmember Hilton.
Ruben and Ronald.
Councilmember Klein.
Ruben and Adeline.
Councilmember Tovar.
Ruben and Adeline.
All right, and I too am voting for Ruben and Adeline. So I don't think that's how she says her name, but anyway, those are the
Sorry.
2 that get the 2 full-term seats for Arts and Culture. Ruben Dario Villa and Adeline Moreno. Okay, now we come to Youth Commission, that because we approved under consent item 7.2, we now have 2 seats open for the Youth Commission, both expiring September 30th of 2024. So we had, I think, 5 applicants, 2 of whom were interviewed. But I'm just going to go down the line again, so you can vote for 2. Councilmember Bracco.
Melanie Reynolds and Jamie Nguyen.
All right, Councilmember Armandaris.
Jamie Nguyen and Melanie Reynolds.
Councilmember Marks.
Melanie Reynolds, Jamie Nguyen.
Councilmember Hilton.
Melanie and Jamie.
Councilmember Klein.
Melanie and Jamie.
Councilmember Tovar.
Melanie and Jamie.
And I'm Melanie and Jamie too, so those are the 2. So Melanie Reynolds and Jamie Nguyen are the 2 for Youth Commission.
And Jamie's here tonight, so congratulations.
Okay, so now let's go back to the shorter term. So in the same order that I just took it before. So now I'm talking Planning Commission for the 1 seat that is open until December 31 of 2023. It is a very partial term. It is 1 year. So going down the line and asking for who you would put in that seat. Councilmember Bracco.
Harold Sonntag.
Okay, Councilmember Armandaris.
Adelina Moreno.
Okay, Councilmember Marks.
Michelle Montez.
Councilmember Hilton.
Adelina.
Councilmember Klein.
Michelle Montez.
Councilmember Tovar.
Michelle Montez.
And I'm going to vote for Michelle Montez, so that's 4 votes for that I come up with, right? 4 for Michelle Montez, so she has the 1-year seat on the Planning Commission. Okay, Open Government Commission has one partial term, expiring 12/31/2024. So now we're voting on the person, and remember, don't vote for the ones that we appointed for the full term.
And that would
Which,
be
thank you.
applicant Diane Sanchez-Benz along with Shane
Okay,
Samadea.
so cross off, so Diana and Shane are not the two you can vote for this partial term. All right, Councilmember Bracco.
No choice.
Okay, Councilmember Armandaris.
Sandra Ramirez.
Councilmember Marks.
Terrence Fugazi.
Councilmember Hilton.
Jan Bernstein.
Councilmember Klein.
Terrence Fugazi.
Councilmember Tovar.
I was going to vote for Shane, but I know now, so.
You can't, yeah.
I know, Terrence.
Good, and I'm doing Terrence, so that's 4. I was worried that there might not even be 4. Okay, so Terrence Fugazi has the shorter term for Open Government Commission. Okay, that leaves Arts and Culture. There is one seat that is good until 12/31/25, and one that's 12/31/24. I would like to say, because I want to explain why I am not going to support anybody for these, and that's because I would like for those who were not appointed to commissions that they did apply to have the chance to consider what remains open. But I am still going to go down the line, and if there are people here that are not the 2 that we already appointed to the full term, which is Ruben Dario Villa and Adeline Moreno, so you can't choose them, but if you would like to vote for any one of the other 3 for, let's start with the 12/31/25 term, then you may do so. Councilmember Bracco.
No choice.
Councilmember Armandaris.
Jan Bernstein Shargan.
Councilmember Marks.
No choice.
Councilmember Hilton.
Jan Bernstein Stargan.
Councilmember Klein.
No choice.
Councilmember Tovar.
Jan Bernstein Chargen.
Okay, and I am not making a choice, so that's 3, so that fails. And then there's the shorter term. Let's just do it for the formality of it. I don't know how different it will be. Councilmember Bracco. Councilmember Armandaris.
Jan Bernstein Shargan.
Councilmember Marks.
No choice.
Councilmember Hilton.
Jan Bernstein Stargan.
Councilmember Klein.
No choice.
Councilmember Tovar.
No choice.
Okay, and me, so that was only 2. Okay, so the 2 partial terms on Arts and Culture remain open, as well as all of the, even the full terms on Personnel, a full term on Library, Physically Handicapped, too. And now, do I need to go back to Building Board of Appeals? No, Ronald Robinson got that, correct? Building Board of Appeals, yes, he got that one. Okay. Is there anything else I need to do on this, Ty?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you all. That was quite a process and a lot of homework. Thank you to all the applicants. Congratulations to those. And I hope that those who didn't get the seat that they were hoping for considers reapplying. We're going to be doing this again next month for the seats that are still open. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 11, introduction and new business. 11.1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gilroy authorizing the submittal of applications for payment programs and related authorizations. Darrell Jordan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Tonight, I would like to introduce the opportunity for Council to approve the submission of a new resolution to qualify for the state's annual beverage container recycling payment program. This program is a 5-year plan which allocates $15,000 per year to the city. Historically, these funds have been used for beverage container recycling, litter reduction, and group cleanups. Our state currently leads the nation with an approximate 65% diversion rate for all waste materials. This grant will assist our efforts to support both community recycling and waste management programs and continue a tradition of environmental stewardship here at the city. It's important to note that this grant meets the council's strategic goal to, quote, develop a financially resilient organization, unquote. Therefore, this grant does not draw funds from the city's general fund, but rather it adds to it. It is staff's recommendation that council supports and approves the request for a resolution to secure these funds for the city, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have tonight.
All right, council members, any question of staff? if you're lining up in here, I don't know how to see it right now. Okay, why don't you just raise your hand if you want to speak? Is there somebody who wants to speak? Oh, maybe that's why I don't see it, because nobody wants to speak. Okay, no questions? Do we have any people who want to comment?
No speaker cards, Madam Mayor.
Okay, then do we have a motion? Okay, so it was moved by Councilmember Bracco, seconded by Councilmember Tovar. And
I'll do the roll call here.
Okay.
Councilmember Armendariz?
Yes.
Councilmember Bracco?
Yes.
Councilmember Klein?
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton?
Aye.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Tovar?
Yes.
And Mayor Blankley.
Yes, all right, that passed unanimously.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. All right, 11.2 is, this was one of our council-initiated items, reviewing the social host ordinance, and Jimmy Forbes is going to give us a staff report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is brought before you as of June 6, 2022. Council initiated a request to review and possibly update the city's social host ordinance. At that time, there was no specific direction given to staff. This ordinance was adopted in June of 2007, about 15 years ago. And really the significant challenge that staff has had in administering this ordinance is the 30-day citation window from violation. It's an extremely quick turnaround, given that you may have holidays, weekends, and all these other items. And so sometimes these things take a little bit longer to figure out before we actually cite. The social host ordinance overview prohibits loud or unruly gatherings where alcohol is served to, consumed by, or in the possession of underage persons on premises owned, rented, resides, or in control by person responsible for the event. And it establishes an administrative fine based on the number of occurrences in a 12-month period. $250 for the first violation, $1,000 for the second violation, and $2,000 for each third or more violation. Public safety response cost recovery fees may also be applied at a cost up to $500 per incident. And in a nutshell, what that is for the time and cost that the city incurs for responding to the incident, that recovery is capped at $500. Currently, the admin citation is issued within 30 days of the violation, and the individual that is cited has a right to an administrative appeal. And if the violating party is a juvenile, then the juvenile and the parents or guardians will be jointly and severely liable for the penalty. So a youth at a parent's house where the parents are not in attendance, they are still liable for the actions of their child. Cost recovery applies after warning of first violation, can be on the same day if qualifying event does not end after warning. And then administrative hearings follow hearing procedures established in Chapter 6A of the City Code. It's the same code that we use for fireworks violations and similar administrative citations. There are many options that the council could go with in updating or leaving this policy intact. Longer time frame for citations. They could look at a 90-day violation. They could look at a longer period of time for that. They could increase the fine amounts. Currently, the first violation of the fireworks policy is $1,000, so it's considerably more than that of the social host ordinance. That could be something council could direct staff to return with some options. And then look at increasing or removing the cap of $500 for cost recovery relating to police and fire response via the citation. We well know that any response by police is going to cost more than $500, and so council could direct staff to bring back an analysis of increasing that amount. At this time, since it's a council-initiated item, staff is only bringing you back an update on what the ordinance is and any issues that staff has had, but we will take the direction of the council and return if you shall direct. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, council members, do you have any questions? Councilmember Bracco? I don't see it, so I'm.
Underline meeting. It looks like pipe of the syrup.
Jimmy, I think the fine needs to be a lot more. I mean, $250, it costs you more than that to get your car towed. You know, it's not very much money. And you're talking about a host of things, one being underage drinking. I think that deserves a $1,000 penalty. So I would support it if it's $1,000 minimum.
Okay, we're giving direction to staff, so we'll see. Let's everybody throw things out and we can see how much support there is for everything. Councilmember Marks?
Okay, yes. Under 19C.4, number 2, I would like to see some words deleted within 30 days of the violation and just put a period after officer. So then it would read, the police shall give notice of a violation of this section by issuing an administrative citation to any and all persons identified by the enforcement officer. So then no officer, they would not be tied into a certain amount of days for the report.
Okay, any other council members before we kick this off? Into further discussion? Okay, then I would like to, I'm in agreement with the $1,000 fine. That's what we are assessing for. Is that not the same amount we do for fireworks?
That is the same amount.
Okay, and then I'd like to ask Andy if there's any, what are the implications of not having a time certain for a citation?
That's a good question. The implications are that if a citation is delayed unduly, now what is unduly? That would be for a court to determine. Obviously, someone who's cited could claim a loss of due process because evidence would have been destroyed or people would have moved on, witnesses are no longer available. So I think it would be wiser to have some time limit.
Okay.
It could be longer than 30 days, certainly, but I would not advise having an unlimited time to issue the citation.
Okay. Okay, so maybe first, how does the council feel about a $1,000 fine?
Mayor, if I may?
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I would agree with that, because if you think, as was mentioned, if we're fining folks $1,000 for fireworks and only $250 for underage drinking,
Right.
basically, doesn't make sense to me, so I would be in favor of the 1,000.
Okay. On the time to cite, let's do that first.
Yeah,
That's
do that
better.
first,
Yeah,
yeah.
first. Is there support for?
Well, you should have public comment first.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I did that. Was there public comment on this? I'm sorry.
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, no public comment. Thank you. Let's look for a thumbs up if $1,000 is the number we would want to direct staff to come back with. Okay, and that's unanimous there. So for the time to cite, I personally don't think it should be open-ended, but I don't know if 90 days or 180 days is.
Well, how long would it normally take, for a citation to be issued?
Depends. You're going to ask.
Or what's the staff recommendation?
Ms. Sparks, it greatly depends on the number of citations. For example, 90 days for fireworks violations where we had 40, 50, hundreds, that takes a while. So
I guess we need some
we
guidance,
could
or
come
I
back
need guidance.
with a recommendation if
Yes, okay.
that's okay with the council,
Mhm.
and then council can adjust and amend it. or-
Okay, that's maybe a
That
better way to
sounds
do
good.
it, because hopefully we don't have as many underage drinking, social horse violations as we do illegal fireworks, my goodness. Okay, so is that sufficient direction to staff then, to move on?
Madam Mayor, I just want to repeat it to council
Yes.
to make sure we've been directed for 2 items. One is the fine amount to be increased to $1,000, and to bring back a recommendation to council concerning the number of days that the city has to, in order to cite.
Is that what everybody understands? Yes? Okay, thank you. All right, 11.3, downtown survey results. Also a Jimmy staff report. Oh, it's actually Bryce. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The downtown survey was released on October 3rd, 2022, with the intent of gaining general sentiment and opinions on downtown Gilroy. The questions were developed and reviewed with the Downtown Ad Hoc Committee and staff. Again, the intent was to gather public input, not necessarily a scientific survey. There were 22 questions in English and Spanish, as well as a 23rd question we'll call it, that allowed for basically for comments, whatever the respondent wanted to enter. The survey closed December 14th, so a little over 2 months after it was released, and the city received 677 responses. In the survey, not all questions had to be answered, and some allowed for multiple answers, which is why if you look at the total, sometimes it's less than the 677, sometimes it's more if you add them all up. So this presentation is a high-level overview of some of the key takeaways. First, we had a 99.6 respondents responded in English. This has revealed that we need some better outreach and more advanced distribution planning to make sure we capture more of the Spanish-speaking community and some more options aside from just electronic surveying, but actual hard copy paper as well. 90% of the respondents live in Gilroy, 72% of them in the western portion of the city. 83% owned their own homes, and 86% were customers. The remaining identified as living, working, or owning property in downtown. So on transportation questions, the majority feel safe traveling in cars and walking generally downtown. They do feel less safe riding bicycles or walking to and from the train or bus station. The majority responded they drive or ride in passenger vehicles, but ride shares and taxis are the least frequent. 69% of respondents say they entered downtown from the west, with 14 from the east, and the remaining coming from north and south. To encourage bicycling, the common responses we received were to increase safety for bicycle riders, as well as having more bike lanes and paths. And then the responses include a mix of parking responses relating to using lots and parking in front of businesses as their preferred behaviors. For the crime and safety question, only 20% say they always feel safe from crime in downtown. 35% they said they feel safe in a group. 39% say they feel safe before 6 p.m. And then 17% responded with feeling safe and avoid the area at night, or uncertain and don't visit downtown at night. This is one of the questions where you could have multiple selections, which is why the percentages are a little deviate. For customer trends, customers more frequently visit restaurants, shopping, and bars, while civic and religious institutions, medical, and other professional services are least frequently visited. Items most likely to be purchased, responses were gifts, services, and home decor and apparel and jewelry. Most respondents spend less than $25 per week on each category of purchases, with the exception of dining and entertainment, which rated higher. We did ask for responses to what events they would like to see in downtown. 91% replied that they would like to see farmers markets. The next highest were festivals, music, concerts, food, wine, and beer events, and then plays and cultural events. We asked about the days they're most likely to frequent. Saturdays were the highest frequented, followed by weekends in total, evenings, and then weekdays itself. For businesses, 75% of business owners responded that they think attractive streetscapes and storefronts would improve customer experiences, followed by outdoor dining and a wider array of offerings. Over half of the businesses are not looking at expansion at this point. 22% are looking to expand in the future, and 6% stated they're wanting to expand but can't for some reason. 84% of property owners who responded stated that they have no vacancies or responded as not applicable when we asked about how many units they have as far as rentals remaining vacant. We also asked prospective tenants in the survey to tell us if there are any challenges they have to renting a space. The comments came back that the costs were too high, the cost of improvements were also too high, and getting permits and approvals being too time-consuming and costly. In summary, there were 234 comments, free comments. Staff report said 233, it's 234. Everyone's opinion on what will improve the downtown, though, as we noticed through all the questions and the comments within the questions themselves, is that everybody's opinion is different. So a couple examples, we have a lot of comments say they want more bicycling in downtown, and then a large number of comments saying that they don't want any bicycling or more expansion in downtown. The same with bars and versus family restaurants. So the common comment that we did see is a desire for a wider variety of options. Respondents are generally concerned about safety, crime, or physical accidents as far as biking, higher level of aesthetics and quality for attraction, and then there were a significant number in the comments of comparisons to other downtowns, not just in Santa Clara County, but also in the Greater Bay Area as well. So as we said, the survey results are not scientific. It's an attempt at a high-level reporting of participants' opinions. It's going to be useful in planning future economic development and downtown activities, and may inform work plans the next 2 budget year cycle. The survey will be conducted again this summer as the Jumpstart Downtown programs are fully underway to see if there's a change in that opinion and those responses. And additionally, following up on the safety concern at the Gilroy Police Department, we'll be conducting a public safety meeting with downtown businesses on January 11th. We also want to take this opportunity to provide an update on the Jumpstart Downtown implementation. So going through the recommendations, the update to the downtown strategic plan will be in the 24 and 25 fiscal year budget work plan. Developing new ordinances to address vacancies and noise. We're currently reviewing possible ordinances and we'll return to council in the second quarter with recommendations. The assessment district, the consultant is on board and we anticipate the business improvement district plan draft in the second quarter. The downtown parking management plan is currently underway with the consultant. Stakeholder interviews, including council, are anticipated to be held with over the next 2 months, with the final plan coming back to council in December 2023. According to engineering, there may be other interim reports that come out as well during that interim period. The facade and blight removal program and the downtown building and planning fee reduction program are both coming to council at your next council meeting on the 23rd. The downtown pop-up park establishment is going to require design and bidding. Conceptual planning is happening this quarter with design and bidding to follow, targeting a summer completion. And then developing the beautification and decorative lighting improvements. Receiving input. Additional planning is going to be spent this quarter, and then commencement of the beautification lighting in the second and third quarters. And then recommendation number 9 was the downtown Jumpstart kickoff meeting, and that was completed and held on October 27th. And that completes the presentation. Have you addressed any comments?
Thank you, Bryce. I don't know, the ad hoc committee came up with most of these things, right? So for you to say you didn't do anything, I'm not so sure. It's like, it looks to me like you did quite a bit.
It does, but until they get implemented, I
Okay.
consider them not done.
Well, that's fine, but.
I'm sorry,
I think
I
what
didn't
Fred
I didn't
is-
even reply to that. I never said we didn't do anything.
Oh.
Obviously, it's all laid out.
Right.
For me, it's more about oversight and making sure things move forward.
Okay, well, this.
Nothing to do with that.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you. Okay, are there any questions for Bryce?
Yes.
Okay,
Did you see
Councilmember
me?
Marks.
I'm in your queue. I used it.
I-
Oh, okay. Bryce, out of curiosity, how many businesses returned the survey?
Put the number here. It was in the. Sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna get to it here. Comments. So we had.
Okay, if I get rid of
around
my staff
60,
report.
roughly.
I'm sorry, what?
Around 60, roughly. just-
60?
Just looking at this
Okay,
in cursory. Yeah.
all right. And then, Bill, were building owners asked at all? Were building owners surveyed?
There was, so they were included in the outreach, so the questions only limited who could respond, so there's only one question that was limited to just property owners.
Okay, I guess what I'm
But
having a
everybody-
hard time in dealing with is, most of them said there were no vacancies. And I think of our downtown and go, oh my God, there's vacancies all over. This is where I really agree with Councilmember Tovar when he says that we have to make sure that these things are implemented. And I did go through most of the comments, and I was glad to see that people were on the same page as the ad hoc committee with the number of buildings that have plywood, because that's unsightly. And I want to see us moving towards making, creating ordinances where the plywood comes off and beautiful art pieces go in the windows to make the city welcoming, because it's not helping any of the businesses that are around these boarded up buildings, and they've been boarded up for too long. If some of you think I'm being harsh, we have some buildings that have been boarded up over a year, some are 15 years, some are over 20 years. And 2 buildings are being used for storage. That's unacceptable in the downtown. And I really want, I think Councilmember Tovar and I speak, for the committee, hopefully, that we really want to make a big push to get this downtown moving and not keep it in a stranglehold for building owners to wait for the prices to go up where they can make all this money, because they're not going to make money if there's no businesses downtown to do it. And the public has really spoken in this survey. I really liked the responses, because it's like, oh my God, they're saying what we're saying. They want businesses and a wide variety of them. And I think we're going to scream loud and strong to make it happen.
Okay.
If I can, just address, so for the property owners that responded to that question, there was 13 responses to that question about vacancies.
For 13, I'm sorry, for what?
13, so 13 property owners responded to the question about vacancies.
Oh, okay.
So each, like, I
That
said, each
makes
question
sense.
has different, so
Yeah, that
some
makes sense.
businesses have 60, some. this one has
Okay,
21.
I can see my speaker lineup now. I
Okay,
just had to
okay,
get
yeah,
rid of,
alright.
I don't see you in there though, Councilmember Tovar. I see Councilmember Armandaris. And the
I'm-
reason I couldn't see was because I had the staff report up. So I need to get rid of the staff report. Okay, I'm not seeing Fred.
He's under Rebecca.
I know I'm the
Okay, well,
shortest guy up here,
Councilmember
so-
Armandaris.
I need a
Thank you,
boost.
Mayor. Thank you, Bryce, for your work on this. I think this is a really robust and exciting, like, implementation plan for what we came up with on the ad hoc. And obviously, it's reflected in the survey results from our residents and business community. My question is, of course, on the demographics of the responses and how the outreach was conducted. Because I know we brought it up in the ad hoc, like we wanted to make sure that it was a accurate sampling of our community.
Correct. So the survey was done electronically through basic Google Forms. It was transmitted to broadly with social media on the city's email newsletter. It was posted in the common places for the city. We used the Downtown Business Association, Chamber of Commerce, Visit Gilroy to distribute as well. And the link was shareable, so as people received it, they could share it with whoever they wanted to. It didn't limit who could access it. And that's
Except
one of the challenges that we.
And like how connected they are, what side of the digital divide they're on, right?
Correct, and that's one of the challenges that we've definitely seen. We thought it'd be a little more even blend, but it's definitely not. So going forward in the next survey in the summer, we'll go with also paper copies. We'll use probably, I believe it's called Promotores group, as well as others to try to help disseminate it a bit more broadly across both.
Thank you.
both
I think
demographic
that's a
groups.
good plan. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Tovar.
Thank you, Mayor. And Bryce, and for everyone, thank you for the survey. You know, sort of looking at number 9, and I think that the Jumpstart meeting that we had was very important, and I appreciate everybody who showed up to that, and I think they should be ongoing. So I don't know if we have one scheduled for that, but it goes back to proving my point why a standing committee is important, because we have so many recommendations here, and having us all work together with the community, with business owners, again, why I'm proposing a standing committee. In addition, I think that the city needs to be more proactive, and I agree with Councilmember March, but I also see the city needs to be more proactive in helping to find new businesses to fulfill those vacancies. So I'm hoping that's something that the city's doing now, but again, it's something that I think the standing committee can work on as well. So thank you for the survey, but it proves my point of why I'm trying to do something. So thank you.
Councilmember Tovar, I'm just curious, because I'm loving all the enthusiasm for downtown, but how would the city place tenants in private landlords' property?
Well, so I met with a local business owner the other night, and he told me, I was informed that he purchased a couple properties. I said, wow, how come we didn't hear this from the city? Do you understand what I'm saying? We're always the last to know.
Oh, just communication, you mean?
Right,
Oh,
communication. And again,
Okay.
if it's every council meeting, I want to know who's been contacted, who's interested. We don't get that until after the fact. So that's why.
That's fine. That's not what I understood you say the first time, but I get it. Okay. Thank you, Bryce. Anything else? Nope. Okay. With that, we move on to 12.1, federal budget. Oh,
We have public comment on this.
did I do public comment on?
No, Madam Mayor.
Is there public comment?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Okay, closing public comment. All right, and now we move on to city administrators' reports.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 2 items for you this evening. I do want to point out that we've had taken kind of a beating the last few days. I can't agree that we haven't had no flooded streets, but we've had very few, and I'm very proud to be part of a team that really spent the whole weekend and nights making sure that things are ready to go. I also want to thank our residents as well. It's nice to see residents in front of their house where they see leaves piled up in front of a grate and they're out there kicking the leaves away. They get it. They know that they can help out too. So we've all been pulling together. We're doing fine. We're not in any real danger, but we certainly aren't out of the woods yet. So we've had various street closures today, including parts of 101, which has created a bit of a mess, and Mesa Road and Castro Valley Road as well. But like with most things in Gilroy, we find a way to work it out and to cooperate with each other. And really, we've had too many issues. So hang in there. The sun will shine one day, but I don't know when that day is quite yet. So hope you have a good umbrella. Lastly, as part of the federal budget adoption on December 29th just last month, a few weeks ago, President Biden signed a $1 trillion spending package. That's trillion with a T. And of that, strangely enough, the city of Gilroy got $4.5 million in that signature. That is extremely unusual because a lot of times what we ask for, we don't get. And this was one of those times that we did. And so there are two projects that were funded through Zoe Lofgren's office of the 19th District. We always submit some kind of wish list to each of our national elected officials, and they do their best. They put it in, and most of the times it just doesn't quite get there, but this was one of the times where it did. And so very proud of our community for getting two federally funded projects for capital improvement projects that we did not have funding for. So one is improvements at San Ysidro Park. That is $3 million from Uncle Sam. That will go to do significant improvements to picnic areas, trails, playground equipment, lighting, cosmetics, you name it, $3 million will go a long way. And then the other $1.5 million is for the Lions Creek Trail West Gap. If you don't know where that is, that goes from Wren all the way out to Christopher High. It cuts through through the creek and such, but it's if you're a runner or a cyclist, it's a nice little connection. And that's something that is always good for us to keep connecting those trails together and giving us runners and cyclists and walkers something to do and to enjoy. So very excited about getting to $4.5 million. Those projects will have to happen quickly. We only have 12 months to do it, or the appropriation will not carry forward most likely, and we will ask again in the future for other projects, but very exciting news for Gilroy. We will come back on January 28th with strategic planning, and we are calculating right now that probably around $20 million, over $20 million in federal grants and funding have been awarded to the city in probably the last 18 months, which I'm pretty sure is a record. And just goes to show sometimes if you ask, you might actually get what you want. So happy to answer any questions, but that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick
City
comment,
Attorney?
Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm proud to have worked with Representative Zoe Lofgren on identifying and submitting these two projects that Jimmy just talked about for community project funding requests. And one thing that I really want the public to know is that I've chosen to keep my council office actions open to the public, through website and newsletters and town halls, and that approach makes you vulnerable to the best and the worst from this community. But it's opportunities and successes like this that keep my office wishing to be like that. There are many shovel-ready projects, as the city administrator talked about, that benefits all residents, and I'm always looking for funding when I meet regularly with our elected representatives. And the same thing when attending regional conferences, training, professional development. These are when those types of opportunities become a reality as well. Thank you for members of the community from Nueva Vida that showed up tonight. And I'm really proud to be able to get this money and spend it. Thank you.
All right, City Attorney's reports, 13.1.
Okay, I'm going to give you a report on something in contrast to what Jimmy said, which is government action that we are happy about. This is state action that I don't think anybody who's tried to read it, including city clerks and city attorneys, is totally happy about. But I need to explain it to you because it's amendments to the Brown Act. It's AB 2449 that were passed last fall that relate to teleconferencing, which is a completely confusing subject. But let me try to explain it. Under the Brown Act, as you know, we meet in person. Gilroy has been doing that, and traditionally that's how meetings occur in public entities. There has always been a provision in the Brown Act, and we have used it from time to time, that allow a given council member, or potentially more than one, to call in from somewhere else. And the Brown Act has always required, for example, if a council member is in a hotel on vacation or on business or whatever, that they can join the meeting provided that a quorum remains in the district. And the council member has to post the agenda at their place, wherever they are, the hotel room, for example, and the public has to be invited in. So the public can participate in the meeting at the remote location. I'm not sure in all the times we've done this that the public has ever actually so participated, but that's what the act requires. So now, under COVID, we had hoped that there would be more general legislation about teleconferencing because many cities were teleconferencing. We were doing it for a number a number of months. And there are still cities that are conducting completely virtual meetings based on the declaration of a state of emergency by the state of California. And under AB 361 that was passed a year and a half ago, cities can still do that, except they can only do it for another 2 months because the governor has announced that the state of emergency will expire February 28th. I'm not going to go into that because we have not been using that, but it is an avenue, and there are some cities who are still using it by declaring local emergencies every 30 days. And we did that for a while and then stopped. Okay. So here comes AB 2449, and it allows limited teleconferencing, but it's highly restrictive and kind of has strange requirements on the city and the individual. So for example, it's less like AB 361 I just talked about, which is the general teleconferencing provision. It's more like the old Brown Act, except that a council member who's availing themselves of this provision does not have to make their location public and does not have to invite the public in. But in effect, the city has to invite the public in. So let me try to clarify that. The council member can use this under certain very restrictive conditions. Either the council member has just cause, which is a defined term, or an emergency. And just cause includes caregiving of a family member, having a contagious illness, or traveling on official business. A council member who is using this provision for just cause can only do it 2 meetings per calendar year. Okay? Emergency situations, however, emergency circumstances are also defined, and they include a physical or family medical emergency. The legislative body has to decide to approve a request, and that request can be done for no more than 3 consecutive months or 20% of meetings in a calendar year. So if a council member uses either just cause or emergency circumstances provisions, they can be wherever they are. However, the rest of the body, the rest of the city council, must be in a physical meeting here in the city. And although we do not have to post the teleconference locations, we do have to provide the public with access to 2-way audio and 1-way video platform to call in. So we have to allow then internet access to the meeting here from anywhere in the country, regardless of where the council member actually is. In other words, it's not tied in the way it was under the existing Brown Act to the actual location of the absent council member. So the city has to allow remote call-in from anywhere in order to do this. And the council member has to be, by the way, on video and audio, both. And the council member has to disclose whether anyone over the age of 18 is in the room during the meeting. So this is the outline of restrictions. It basically allows us, we can still use the existing Brown Act. In other words, if somebody goes away and is staying in a hotel, for example, we can still do what we've always done, which is post the location and allow, at least in theory, the public to go there. But if we don't want to do that, if there's just cause or an emergency circumstance, we can still have the council member be remote without posting their location, but then the city has to make sure there is unobstructed access for the public to call in and to see video as well. So it's really a mixed bag. This is not a provision the League of California Cities was in favor of. They wanted a much more general teleconferencing bill, but there was a lot of debate in Sacramento, and this is what we got. This bill is only in effect for 3 years, by the way, 2023, 24, and 25. So that concludes my report. I'm not sure if we'll ever be using this provision, but it theoretically is available, and it really would depend on the mood of the council to do it, but also the city's ability to set up the remote internet links that are required. That concludes my report.
Andy, can I ask you a question? So thank you for that. It clarifies a lot for me. So help me understand. So if I am traveling or if I'm at work and I can't physically make the meeting, I have to sort of take those steps, right? And just advertise it and sort of let people know where I'm at and stuff, right? But if I decide that I don't want to come to the meeting or I can't come to the meeting, I don't have to share the reason why behind that?
Well, you have to, if, under the new provision,
Right,
you have
just
to
one.
have just cause.
Right.
Which doesn't mean you just don't want to come to a meeting.
Right.
Or you have to have a medical, essentially a medical emergency. And the city has to ask you what the medical emergency is.
Okay.
By the way.
Got
And
it.
you have 20 words to define it without giving away private information. This is all in the statute.
Wow,
So you actually have to say something.
pretty specific.
But it has to be brief and you don't have to give away private information.
Okay, wow, thank you.
But it's, yes.
That was me.
I'm
Does
sorry.
just cause include, I assume it does not include like being on vacation
No.
or a retreat or just things of personal choice?
No, it includes traveling on official business, but not traveling on vacation.
Right. Okay.
Whereas the existing
Right.
Brown Act allows people on vacation to call in.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
That's why.
And people
yeah.
do that traditionally.
Yeah, probably easier the way it is, because then if I understood you correctly, if we were to change what we currently do and go with the just cause or these
Mm.
things, it would also be costly. The city would have to spend money to accommodate that council member by getting these internet.
Yeah,
and
potentially. It's
things.
not a question that if we change things, because they're all, both of those avenues are still in effect. The traditional Brown Act of posting the hotel room is still okay.
Right.
And does not require.
Right,
that
we
there
don't
be
need to
this
change
synchronized-
anything, but
Yes,
you're here
right.
telling us of
We-
what you could do for the new law, and I just wanted to
Right.
confirm that under the new law, we would have to actually, the city would have to bear a burden.
That's correct.
Yes.
And by the way, if there's if there's a blockage in the internet or some problem, you can't act on any items until that's resolved. The statute specifically says that, so.
And so our,
Okay.
our current technology doesn't accommodate that? What we have now?
You'd have to ask Ty. It's a question of whether the current technology would allow anybody to call in from anywhere with both audio and at least visual looking at the site, and it might.
I think we do.
But whether we can guarantee that it works 100% during the meeting,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think
but
anybody
perhaps.
could do that.
We did something similar to yours back on December 5th for
Mm-hmm.
that meeting. We did have some technical errors with it. We're still going to resolve it, but
Yeah, a lot of us
at this
couldn't even
moment,
hear
we are
things.
not there yet.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we could do all that stuff, and it's not that complicated, but it actually is when you try to do it, I think.
Like learning this new system. It's
Yeah.
like, it's similar
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. No, well, luckily, we don't have to change anything, so, yeah.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. All right, then that brings us to item 14, where we are going to be adjourning to closed session in memory of Don Christopher. So, go ahead.
All right,
Do you wanna
the
do your
closed
scope of
session,
closed
item
session?
15.1 is conference with negotiator, collective bargaining unit pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 and Gilroy City Code Section 17A11.4. The collective bargaining unit is the Gilroy Police Officers Association representing the police officers. City negotiators are Jimmy Forbes and Leanne McPhillips. Anticipated issues are wages, hours, benefits, working conditions, memorandum of understanding, MOU between City of Gilroy and Gilroy police officers. So the process now is for you to take public comment, if anyone has any public comment, and then adjourn to closed session. And the first action item for you in closed session is to take a vote on whether to remain in closed session. And that vote is a reportable action when you come out.
Okay, so we're going to go to public comment first. I don't see any.
No speaker cards, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so closing public comment. And it's only 7:23, so I'd like to keep going. Yeah, if everyone's okay. So let's vote to stay. No, we got to clear.
Wait till we go into
Yeah,
closed session.
Madam
sorry.
Mayor, could we have a 10-minute break so we can
You need- oh,
clear the room
sorry.
and such?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, we'll resume at 7:30.
Oh, okay.